Dear all, good day. I hope you're all safe and sound, hale and hearty. Today I'm going to impart my lecture number 46. This is basically upon the safe procedures as far as the anchoring is concerned. As we know and as we see and as we speak, the anchoring has become, for many known and unknown reasons, a critical operation. Now, I had also written a post on my LinkedIn on the subject matter for the safe anchoring procedures, where I was overwhelmed by so many responses by all my followers, my comrades, and my mariners all around the globe. This certainly obligates me to impart a legitimate session in parts. Therefore, as we speak, with reference to my lecture number 46, part 1. When I say part 1, because I have, segregated the different sections, like for instance, internal factors, external factors, and lots of other things which affect the mariner. How can we together and in a cohesive manner pull up our socks to basically have safe operations, and in this particular case, safe anchoring operations. Now, be it before approaching the anchorage, whilst at anchorage, and when picking up the anchorage. So that is the reason I have in a way delineated this particular lecture in parts. The next lecture will be lecture number 47. It will be part 2. The nomenclature will go like this. Therefore, again, I must say I thank you all for giving me this encouragement. As you see and as you know, I'm imparting all these lectures for basically to my maritime fraternity, in order to help them and facilitate them as far as my practical seamanship and the practical knowledge of seamanship, my command experience is concerned. I hope you will appreciate that. However, in case you have some other views, please do not hesitate to let me know. I'll be very happy to know, because the way I look at it, critics are the only thing which helps to improve a man. And I tell you, for last 2 years, almost 2 years, I'm uploading so many lectures on YouTube, and by virtue of which today I have few groups on WhatsApp, and I've got so many queries, many a times because of my busy kind of nature, because I do a lot of mentoring for the mariners. I do mooring master job. Sometimes I may not be able to cater to your requirement, but please do send me a WhatsApp in case, because I have got 2 WhatsApp groups which are all full. But I would ask you to send me a separate message on my WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number is +91 78 38 28 5196. I repeat, my WhatsApp number is +91 78 38 28 5196. Thank you. Now we begin with this lecture as far as safe operations for anchorings are concerned. Again, lecture number 46, anchoring operations, part 1, but it construes towards the safe anchoring operations. Under my banner of Marine Quest Solutions, I upload this lecture on my YouTube, and I also replicate this on the LinkedIn and Facebook respectively. Now, when we talk about the safe anchoring procedures, I've written here why the anchoring has become a critical operation. Now, if we go back to few decades ago, as I have been all the time trying to appraise my viewers, we did not have all this state-of-the-art equipment like what we have today. The EGDIS, the AIS, the GPS, the ARPA, name it, everything is electronically governed. But I must say, yes, they are boon to us, provided we know our basics. Otherwise, it is like a video game. I mean to say, when we talk about video game, it's like a simulator. But when you're working on a simulator, you know nothing will happen to you. But factually, when you are actually navigating on EGDIS with facilitation of radar and ARPA, if one mistake, you can understand what are the consequences. So, that's the reason I've written why anchoring has become a critical operation. The main contributing factors which have led to such an incident and accidents, I've narrated it down, and furthermore, I'm also going to share and impart a DNV video where all those things are talked about as far as the internal factors, and few places external factors are concerned. But what I will do, first I will talk about the internal factor with respect to part 1, and thereafter I will start taking this lecture, step by step, so my viewers, followers can understand this. And mind you, these things will also help the aspirating mates who intend to become master. Also, it will help many candidates who are appearing for their written and or the oral exams. Of course, I'm imparting this as a value-added courses, but to tell you honestly, I know bookish knowledge is important, but at the same time, the practical knowledge comes from the horse's mouth. And if you have the practical experience, only then you can write a book. Like I've been an author of a book on hydrodynamics. That is all based upon my practical experience. Anyhow, we proceed with this particular lecture. The main contributing factors which have led to such incident accidents, what are they? Approaches towards anchorage. Now, when we approach towards anchorage, many times accidents or incidents have taken place when the master is approaching at a very high speed. Rule number 6 says safe speed. When we talk about safe speed, it should be basically under the circumstances under which the vessel is maneuvering. It should not be too fast, should not be too slow, because if the speed is too slow, the external effect starts enhancing upon you, be it sea, swell and current. And then you see the general direction of the vessels which are anchoring. In other words, a vessel which is at anchor always stems the tide unless of course the wind force becomes strong and subject to your windage area, then she goes for a resultant vector. Point number 2, the importance of scope and swing circle not properly conceived. As I speak now, I have been taking lots of mentoring sessions for mates and masters, and it gives me lots of in a way shivers when I ask even the senior officers as far as this particular aspect is concerned. Nevertheless, as and how I'm going to step up this lecture, I'm going to explain each and everything in detailed manner so that my followers and viewers will be able to conceive this thing in a very comprehensive manner. That's all I can do. And mind you, this is all based upon my practical and pragmatic experience as far as ship handling, as a master, as a mooring master is concerned. Now, the importance of scope and swing circle not properly conceived. During the anchoring and whilst at anchor, failure to monitor the vessel's position whilst the vessel is at anchor by the master and the crew. Now, because of this electronic aids to navigation, now listen, I'm not prejudiced towards this electronic aids to navigation. I am myself a follower of it. I myself say that they are boon to us. But how can that be properly construed in a mariner's mind as far as his fundamentals are concerned unless his basics are right? His basics have to be correct. I've also mentioned in this particular thing in my LinkedIn post that when we joined sea, we were taught that eyes are your best radars and mind is your best computer. Because this brain or this mind of yours, or this brain, let me correct myself, this brain of yours or grey matter of yours has invented this computer. When you look at with your eyes, it gives you a live picture. But when you look at your radar, ARPA or ICTIS, it gives you a picture which is few milliseconds later. Again, I say they are boon. But you must or we must know how to use them as a tool provided we have our foundation, our basics right. Now coming to the next point, how to ascertain in case your vessel is dragging anchor as far as practical knowledge of seamanship is concerned. You know, when I impart so many navigation mentorship and sessions, in fact I've come up on many times on the webinar as well, I get so many answers from even senior mariners. I will not, cater them or designate them from whom, that it really, astoundingly surprises me as far as the shallow knowledge, as far as the practical knowledge of the seamanship is concerned. So I repeat this thing, but I will take this as and how we go in the next parts, like this is the part 1, thereafter part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but the lecture name will be subsequently changed, like this is 46, next will be 47, but part 2 respectively. How to ascertain in case your vessel is dragging anchor as far as practical knowledge of seamanship is concerned. This is what I've talked about. Then comes the master's over-reliance upon pilot's advice without even carrying out the risk assessment and or evaluation of the situation in relation. Basically, with respect to that, failure to exercise a master's overriding authority. As what you have seen in my previous lectures, wide MAIB reports, what I have narrated. Master had accepted everything and coolly listened to the VTS and the pilot. I'm not saying not to listen to them, but the master must evaluate as far as the ground reality is concerned. Because end of the day, who is going to take the blame in case something happens? Is the master. Because be it VTS, pilot, or any other body, be it your superintendent, they are just an advisor. I mean to say, just let's talk about it when we write in the logbook. When the pilot is on board, don't we write the vessel is proceeding towards so and so place from point A to B in a pilotage water under master's command and pilot's advice. Today we see that so many catastrophical things which are taking place even in Suez Canal, where master cannot do much, but ultimately master is blamed. Master is the only scapegoat. Therefore, I urge all the masters, my comrades, please do not shy away to exercise and take a call as far as the master's overriding authority is concerned. The ISM under IMO has given us all the right as far as protection of safety of navigation, safety of life, safety of environment, or anything construed contained under the paraphernalia of safety is concerned. Therefore, I would request and urge all the masters to please be advised. I read this point again. Masters over reliance upon VTS pilot advice without even carrying out the risk assessment and or evaluation of situation in relation and failure to exercise master's overriding authority. Now, the part 1 where I cover up all this will also be shown to you in a video, which is a DNV video, very informative. Many are things, or most of the things I explained in this, but in case any of my viewers or my students have any doubt, please do reach me on my mobile number on WhatsApp +91 78 38 28 5196. Thank you. So part 1 covers up the internal factors. So I've taken it in a kind of a chronological order, chronological manner. First are the internal factors, where what all points are covered up, you'll see for yourself. That is lack of planning / unskilled crew and masters' lack of situational awareness as far as the weather forecast in case of inclement weather conditions are setting in. Now when I say that, what is happening because of the over-reliance upon the electronic aids to navigation, the officers and masters, they are complete devoid of basics. And again, I reiterate and complement the fact of the matter that yes, electronic aids are boon, provided we must know our basics, and also we must know how to use them as a supportive tool. Once we have our foundations strong enough as far as practical knowledge of the seamanship is concerned. I have broadcast my few lectures where it has already been reflected omnipresently that master, even after getting so many warnings from the VTS, did not pick up the anchor even when the inclement weather was setting in. Point number 2, condition of anchor chain and deformation of the chain links and studs, as well as the age of the vessel. All these things you'll see in the video, which I will show you as we proceed under lecture number 46, part 1. Number 3, the condition of the joining shackle. This will also be shown to you. Number 4, the condition of the windlass. Now, there are limitations on the windlass as far as the depth of the anchorage area is concerned, which will also be shown to you on the video. Under, this is being depicted under the IX, that is International Association of Classification Society, that the windlass also has a limitation as far as heaving up of the anchor is concerned. In other words, a windlass is designed to pick up 82.5 meters of the depth of the anchorage. In other words, approximately accounting to 3 shackles. That is when the anchor is vertically down. Next point, the condition of windlass brake liners. Now, you know, when I have taken over con many a times on the vessel, I do check like a lot of things like crew cash certificates, and do check the general, keep up of the vessel before I take over the con from the previous master. But I always make it a point to check the windlass and the winches brake liners. Winches brake liners, provided you have the spares, the brake liners, the countersunk nuts, bolts, you can do it at any point in time, provided you are at the long voyage. You are in the long voyage. But for windlass, you have to do a lot of risk assessments, because many times I had been in those kind of situations where when I took over the con, of course, I was lucky enough to have a long voyage, or the vessel was proceeding towards a long voyage, looking at the weather constraints and everything, and also ensuring that I have all the spares, be it the brake liner, the countersunk nuts, bolts. I got the brake liners changed. So the facts which are to be taken into account as far as the vessel's internal factors are concerned, I have talked about, that is the condition of windlass, the condition of windlass brake liners. Then comes the master and the crew unaware of the limitations of the windlass and machinery. Because what unfortunately it seems, the master and the crew think, okay, the vessel is anchored now, something like this. I don't quote it, but reading between the lines, okay, now we all can go to sleep, 10 days anchorage, nothing will happen to the ship. That's a very wrong approach. A very wrong approach. Anchorage is just a stopgap arrangement. The only place, even the ROR says, until such time the vessel is made fast or moved, that's the time she is secured. Of course, there also the lacuna is, in case the ropes part, again you are on the move. So this kind of conception that, okay, we have let go the anchor now, or we are at the anchorage, everything is hale and hearty and sound, is not correct. Now I come to the video, and I'll play this video for you all. It's about, I think, around 14 odd minutes. So I'll play this video and let's see where we are.
The anchor and the anchoring mechanisms and procedures are crucial elements in securing safe operation of the ship. Damage and claim statistics show a rather high damage ratio due to loss of anchors, which has also been increasing in recent years. The average insurance claims are rated as one of the top 5 incidents. Grounding and collisions as a result of dragging or loss of anchors has caused a series of severe pollution incidents. Investigations show that most of these cases can be avoided by proper inspection and maintenance and improved operational procedures, and awareness of the limitations of anchoring systems. In this case, the bulk carrier stayed at anchorage despite weather forecasts predicting force 8 to 10 winds. During the night, winds picked up to 20 to 25 meters per second with a significant wave height of 4.5 meters. The ship started dragging the anchor and attempts to leave the anchorage failed. DNVGL, GARD and the Swedish Club want to bring your attention to some essential aspects of anchoring. Technical issues account for a significant portion of the anchor losses and can roughly be divided into 5 main components. The most critical detail is the D-shackle connecting the anchor to the chain. The D-shackle bolt is locked in place by a tapered pin, which is secured by a lead pellet hammered into a dovetail recess. Without the securing pellet, the pin would fall out and the anchor would be lost. The D-shackle connection should be inspected as frequently as possible. However, safety requires that nobody is below a hanging anchor. There have also been some cases involving failure of the Kenter shackles if not properly assembled. These are used to connect the anchor chains. The swivel pin is crucial for avoiding too much twist of the anchor chain. There have been some cases where the anchor has been lost due to detachment of the swivel pin from the link. Wear and tear weakens the connection between the securing nut and the eyelet pin, so look for excessive slack. An anchor chain is no stronger than its weakest link. The most typical defects in anchor chains are wastage due to wear and tear. The chain studs may also come loose and fall out. These studs have excessive slack, significantly weakening the chain. If studs are lost or dislocated, the class society must be informed, and special precautions are to be taken during anchoring to reduce the load on the chain until the chain is replaced or repaired according to approved procedures to the satisfaction of the classification society. Here is an example of unauthorized weld repair of studs, showing that it is dislocated and welded on both sides. The chain stopper and brakes are to be engaged when at anchor and during voyages. The chain stopper is designed to relieve the anchor winch brakes. Chain stoppers which are not properly engaged have caused loss of anchors and chains. This one is no longer effective. A more typical problem is a bent or even lost hinge pin for the chain stopper. The windlass brake system is essential to secure a controlled drop of the chain. Corrosion and mechanical wear of the brake surface and linings will reduce the brake efficiency. The brake needs to be adjusted and maintained according to the maker's instructions. Many anchors are lost due to the uncontrolled run-out of the chain. Due to the risks to the crew involved in these operations, regular risk assessments should be held with focus on personal safety. Anchoring is considered by many seafarers to be a challenging exercise, as about 50% of anchor losses are related to faulty operations. Planning the anchoring is an important part of good seamanship.
I suppose we can drop the anchor about 1 mile. Yeah, 1.5.
This includes an evaluation of traffic and congestion in the area and finding out if there are pipelines or cables close to the anchorage. The water depth is a crucial factor. The windlass motor is typically designed, in accordance with minimum class requirements, to lift the anchor with 3 lengths of chain in the water, that is 82.5 meters. The anchor holding power depends on the paid-out length of the chain cable relative to the water depth. If the weather conditions are close to the maximum environmental limits, the recommended cable length is at least 6 times the water depth. Weather forecasts should be noted and the weather should be closely monitored during anchoring, and criteria for when the anchoring should be aborted should be clearly defined by the master. Lack of proper attention and awareness to this has proven to be one of the main reasons for loss of anchors. The anchor equipment is typically designed in accordance with minimum class requirements for a combination of 25 meters per second wind and a 2.5 meters per second current, but no waves. An equivalent load may be defined for waves with a significant height of 2 meters, combined with 1.5 meters per second current and 11 meters per second wind. The nature of the seabed has a significant effect on the anchor's holding power. The best holding power is provided by clay, but this can have a sucking effect that needs to be considered for prolonged anchorage. Also, shingle and sand may provide good holding power. Pebbles and cobbles and soft mud have low holding power, and anchors in such grounds may drag slowly, making dragging difficult to identify. Anchoring is not recommended on shell or rocky bottoms, or on slopes where the anchor may become wedged in a large crack or get lodged in large fissures. Pilot books and guides to port entry contain detailed information about the anchorage, seabed characteristics, and prevailing conditions. These should be used along with the largest scale chart or ECDIS. If the engine or essential equipment is demobilized for overhauls or repairs, proper risk assessment is necessary related to reactivation time. Before dropping the anchor team must be called to stations. The master must determine in advance the side on which the anchor will be used. The standard instructions to the anchor team must cover manning, communications, and the orders used for anchor operations.
And then prepare the port anchor to drop.
Drop port anchor.
Any deviations from standard procedures need to be communicated up front. The vessel speed must be reduced to nearly zero or very slow motion astern when the anchor is dropped.
Let go. Let go.
There are 3 ways of letting anchors go, and they are suitable for different environmental conditions. Let go of anchor can be used in relatively shallow waters up to 20 to 25 meters with soft seabed. The anchor is let go from the hawser pipe or lowered a few meters from the hawser pipe before being let go. Lowering by the windlass and let go controlled by the brake means that the anchor is lowered by the windlass until 10 to 15 meters from the bottom, and then let go while being controlled by the brakes to limit the dynamic loads from the weight of the anchor and chain. This method is suitable for a depth range of 25 to 50 meters and for hard and rocky seabed when any significant impact may damage the anchor. Lowering by the windlass to bottom is used to anchor at depths of more than 50 meters and when the seabed consists of rock. The anchor chain remains clutched into the gear and is paid out to the bottom. The paid out length of the chain cable relative to the water depth, the scope, recommended by class is 6 to 10. But in calm conditions, less scope may be considered, but normally not less than 3. While the ship is at rest at the anchorage, always monitor the weather forecast. If heavy weather is approaching, leave the anchorage in time. When the chain has been laid out, the brakes and the chain stopper should be engaged to secure the chain. The gear must be disconnected from the motor. Check the position at regular intervals using electronic and manual means to monitor that the ship stays within the swing circle based on the length of the chain. When the vessel stays at anchor for a long time and the current and wind swing the vessel around the anchor, heave the anchor and re-anchor from time to time, to avoid knotting the chain and fouling the anchor with the ship's own chain. Heaving anchors in strong wind and high seas is extremely challenging and should be avoided by proper monitoring of the weather and by departing before the conditions become tough. Mistakes often result in groundings or collisions. The key is to monitor environmental conditions and leave the anchorage in time before adverse conditions put the operation at risk. This is vitally important, as almost half of the reported anchor losses are due to excessive environmental loads. Good practice is to maneuver the ship towards the anchor to minimize the tension in the chain. Close cooperation between the bridge and the deck team monitoring the strain in the chain is essential, especially if the waves and ship motions pick up. The key is to limit the strain on the chain using good seamanship. It's essential to keep in mind that the anchoring equipment and the windlass motor are not designed for heavy weather. Under no circumstances must a drifting ship be allowed to pull the anchor chain out of the windlass with the hydraulic motor engaged, as this may cause the motor to explode. The anchor should be properly secured in the hawse pipe to prevent it being lost during the voyage. Excessive slack may also cause hammering on the ship hull and the loss of the D-shackle securing pin. Secured anchors have to be put on tight brakes. The chain stoppers are to be engaged, and the chain should be further secured by lashings with turnbuckles or other similar fasteners. The windlass clutch has to be disconnected from the gear at sea to avoid the risk of damage. So to avoid this happening, increased focus and situational awareness are essential factors for any anchoring operation. To summarize, the most important factors are the securing pin of the D-shackle bolt, the environmental limitations of the equipment including the depth limitations of the anchor winch motor, adjusting brakes according to maker's recommendations, and replacing brake band linings before excessively worn, and the importance of leaving the anchorage in time if heavy weather is approaching. DNVGL, GARD, and the Swedish Club hope this presentation may contribute to a safer operation while anchoring your ship.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we had seen the video from the DNVGL GARD and the Swedish Club. Here I have basically tried to explain all of us the internal factors, and in the video there are a few external factors also. I am going to talk about at length in order to ensure that the basics, the fundamentals, the implications, the litigations, the operational limitations are well conceived as far as all my followers throughout the globe is concerned. Therefore, do let me know if you have any other doubts, because I will be imparting the next lecture under the banner, my banner of Marine Quest Solutions, on the YouTube, on the LinkedIn, and also on the Facebook under the banner of Marine Quest Solution. And the next lecture will be lecture number 47, and it will be part 2, where I will talk about at length the external factors, starting from approaching the anchorage, how to approach, and how, many a times you find the anchorage is congested, when and how, and the master should exercise his overriding authority. Therefore, I request you all to let me know how did you like this particular session, and I will be coming back on the next lecture, number 47, part 2, very soon. Thank you very much. God bless. Good day. Stay safe. Thank you.